Hello. So I'm in my sauna and I really have been wanting to make a video for so long and I just never have time. I always make excuses for not doing it. And I decided that I'm just gonna make one. There's so many things that I want to talk about and I, need to just start. Anyway, one of the videos that I wanted to make was the 3 things that I would have done differently when I started to trade options had I known. So you can learn from these 3 huge mistakes that I've made over the past couple of years, and hopefully you won't make the same mistakes I did. Number 1, you really have to look at the Bollinger Bands. You want to stay, you cannot be greedy. Like when you're selling options, when you're selling puts or selling cash secured puts or selling covered calls, like this is a long-term gain. This is a long-term game. So much like in the same way as just straight up buying the stock, when you are selling options for premium, you have to also think of it as a long-term game. If you sell an option too close to what's known as the money or the stock price, then you could get burned really, really bad. So you want to use Yahoo Finance and you want to go type in the symbol, go to the analytical sheet, go to the indicators and look at the Bollinger Bands and make sure that the Bollinger Bands say 2 standard deviations away from the current stock price. So I like to go to the 5-day chart because a lot of the stocks that I trade on are pretty volatile. So I know a lot of people go to the 3-month chart, but that's more for stocks that are less volatile. So if you're looking at a real volatile stock like Mara or even Tesla, then the 5-day chart is more than good enough. So I sold a put on Mara this past Tuesday at a 2 standard deviation below the stock price. So that was, at the time, that was $22.50. It was, not a great premium, but it's going to expire tomorrow and it's not going to get assigned because Mara is now at $26. So I'm safe. So it's a very safe trade. You really want to be safe in your trades because you want to have your money released as soon as possible so that you don't have to keep it tied up in an option and wait for it to expire in months and months and months from now, like I have been doing. So I've had to roll a few stocks out to literally 2026 because the position was just so bad and I would have lost so much money had I let the option execute that I couldn't. So now it's kind of stuck there for literally 2 years. Great, 2 years. So anyway, maybe the position will move again and I'll be able to adjust my expiration date. Hopefully that will happen, but right now I'm pretty stuck. So don't be greedy in your premiums. They look extremely enticing, the ones that are right around the money, and just don't do it. Number 2, I learned this the hard way. If your trade goes against you, meaning if the stock price goes into your option, for example, I had a call out on United Health Group last year or 2 years ago at this point for a certain dollar amount. This was when I first started trading options. The stock price went above my call price and I called a certain bank that shall, I'm going to name those. It was Fidelity. I called Fidelity and I was like, what can I do? I don't want to lose the stock. And they said, well, you can close out the trade. You have to buy to close it. You have to pay money to close out this trade. I was like, that sucks. And then he was like, well, it's close enough to your call. The stock price is close enough to your call that it probably won't execute. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'll just let it expire, and I'll get to keep my stock, and all will be well in the world. Well, so learning the hard way, the option expired on Friday and my stocks were still in my account. And I was like, cool, this is great. Now I can sell another call next week for a higher dollar amount so it won't get called away from me. And then Saturday rolled around and the stocks weren't in my account. So it did execute. I did make a profit on that stock, so I'm not going to cry too much about it. But if I had known about the little method of rolling at that time, I could have rolled out my call to expire the following week. So essentially rolling is buying to close and simultaneously selling to open a new position. And you always want to try to do that for a premium positive amount. So you're basically rolling out your option to the following week or maybe the week after, and then you're going to make more premium for doing that. And I learned the hard way how to do that. I didn't know how to do that at that time. And it just sucks because I had a really good stock and I could have kept it, but can't turn back time, right? And shame on Fidelity for not explaining how to roll an option to me. It just seems really simple. Like, why just tell me I have to pay to close it when I could have rolled it? Anyway, so that is number 2. Roll your positions. If your positions are going bad, you want to roll them out. Like roll like a snowball. Get more premium, try to get more premium, and try to get into a better position that expires more in the future. Okay, so don't be greedy, roll your positions, and lastly, oh yeah, super important. Well, it's sort of a double-edged sword. So you always hear people say, just sell options on stocks that you wouldn't mind owning anyway, which is great. You can do that. I could sell options on Apple. I could sell options on Tesla. I can sell options on Google, but who's got like $17 million to do that, right? Because those are all super expensive stocks. Great stocks to own, wouldn't mind owning them, but to sell an option against them for the amount of premium that you get, it's just not a good, like the math is not adding up. So the math ain't mathin', like Annie Elise would say. Sorry, Annie, I'm stealing your term. And I'm not naked here. I got a towel on, so don't get all freaky on me. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah. So a couple of things. You can pick like a really good stock, like Bank of America. It's not too expensive, and sell options on Bank of America. If you get assigned Bank of America, that's a good thing. You'll make dividends and you'll be able to sell calls against it and still own it and still make the dividends and blah, blah, blah. So those are great. But there are certain stocks that don't pay dividends that are not like the big 7 that pay amazing premiums. And one of them is Mara. Mara is my favorite stock to trade on. It pays such beautiful it pays such beautiful premiums. Whether you sell a put against it, sell a call against it, it's just like a slot machine. And even at the 2 standard deviations away on the Bollinger Band, even if you choose those prices to trade on, you're still making like a bucket load of money. So it's awesome. So yes, it's good to try to sell options on stocks that you wouldn't mind owning, but it's also really good if you find a stock that is kind of less well known, one that you wouldn't really love to own. It doesn't pay a dividend kind of thing, but it pays a sweet, delicious premium. Okay, I think that's about it. So number one, don't be greedy, kind of getting back to the whole Bollinger Bands method of just don't trade too close to the money, and keep an eye on the movement of the stock during the week, which leads to number two, where you should roll your stock out to another week if the trade is going bad against your position. And three is trade on stocks that you wouldn't mind owning unless you find a little known stock that pays a sweet premium. Then trade on that very conservatively, following the Bollinger Band theory. Okay, I know that was a ton of information. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments. I am definitely not a financial advisor, although I've been doing this long enough, and I've noticed that other people that have been doing it for less time than me think that they're some kind of like financial guru, and that's just not cool. And I don't claim to be, but I am very good with managing money. I'm very frugal in my life in general, so I can help you, make a little bit of money on the side. I'm definitely not recommending like quitting jobs or whatever. Keep doing what you're doing. And if you have any extra cash left over that's just kind of sitting in a bank account or low interest savings account, you could, potentially make quite a bit more if you trade, options. All right. Have a great, wonderful night, and I will see you soon. Please like and subscribe.